So hi everyone, I'm here with Sneha and Nitish. They've just bought a pretty fantastic property and I just thought we'd have them on to share their story. So in the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, we'll just go through a few, I guess, snippets of their journey before joining the Property Investment Accelerator, how they actually thought of the course, what they did from the course, what they actually learned from the course, and then ultimately the property that they bought. So thank you for doing this from the bottom of my heart, Sneha and Nitish. And yeah, maybe just start off by sharing, I know that you were already property investors. So what was your journey, I suppose, up to middle or late 2020 when we actually started working together? Just walk me through that, or walk us through that.
Yeah.
So, hey everyone. So we started our journey or course with PK in somewhere around July or August. Nitish actually found him on Facebook. He was following quite a few posts by him, and he found him on Facebook. We took up the course, and but Nitish already invested in, I think, 2 properties before that. That was before I came into Australia, when he was single and he started investing. So I think, why don't you just give a little bit of insight? You started buying those 2 properties first when I was not there.
Sounds like you're blaming him. No, it's okay.
So, I mean, when you came into Australia, and I think it was around,
actually, my property journey before I joined Property Accelerator course was that I came in Australia around 14 years ago as a student. Then I finished my studies and I applied PR and my citizenship. Then I was doing actually 2-3 jobs. Then I realized I can't work like this for my lifetime. Then I decided to invest property or buy business or do something. At that time, I was not sure how to start, where to start. Then I thought engaging by agent so that I would really make my life easier and not stressful. So doing 2 jobs in side hustle, I don't think I can actually buy a property. That was too tough. Then I selected buyer agent, and I was actually trying to find a buyer agent, reading articles and other stuff. Then I booked an appointment in a Sydney office. I selected a buyer agent and booked in Sydney office, and I was actually relieved because they were said that not only going to show property, but also going to help me getting the finance and also manage my new property because they own a property management company. I was really impressed that time, thinking I can just get everything sorted out one place.
Yeah.
I focus on my job without stress, because I thought maybe I'm already doing so many things and I can't actually focus on buying properties. It's a big journey to find property, exact state and high growth, high yield and all sort of things. Then I actually, it didn't help me in the long run. I think in approximately 2014, that's what I started my journey.
Yeah.
I gave them buy agent fees, which was massive. Then I started my process looking for suburbs, and they showed me a property in Brisbane. It was a high rental yield, but not much capital growth for last 5 years. After buying the first property, I started working towards my second one. I think after 1.5 to 2 years, the buy agency called me following up my purchases and asking about my future plans. They mentioned that they had upcoming project in Sydney where they're selling unregistered land. They advised me it suits my portfolio, either used service previously. Yeah. I went ahead, bought the land. The buy agency mentioned that they have a builder who I can approach. They're going to connect to me, to the builders. And also first property, they will help me arranging the finance and else. The other thing, they said that I can actually book unregistered land now, and then I have to pay 6 months later when the settlement happens. But it took a while, settlement as a contract. It was mentioned the settlement completion date could take between, I think, 45 days from exchange of contract to more than a year. So I have to wait for a year, and I don't have to, I think it was another, it's been a year. I have to wait for it.
It was quite a long wait.
Yeah. Anyway, the land got settled, and I started approaching the buyer agent, the builder, for starting the construction. That when the exact issues started cropping up for me. The first shock was that the property agent, management agency, which managing my property in Brisbane, messed up with the startup payments. And there were around 6 to 7 startup payments missing. at that time. Then I faced issues with tenants who locked the house and ran away overnight. And the property was left vacant and damaged completely. And I realized that the property management agency is not doing the job efficiently. Then unfortunately, I have to change the management agency. Then after that, the land which I purchased it was actually on the same time happening. I purchased land in Sydney, which was in bushfire zone.
Right.
So I didn't know about bushfire zone that time. So I was just going blind game. I was just working out my 2 jobs and doing side hustles. And the builder, of course, when you have bushfire zones, so builder had to get extra council permissions.
Yeah.
Which again delayed my construction. After that, I started facing issues in finance because I already bought a land, then I was paying initial amounts, loans for that. Because builder increased, and after that, builder increased the construction amount by including the site specification. It was in the contract, site specification was there from 5,000 to 50,000. Then I end up in like $40,000 site specification cost.
Yeah.
So yeah, and plus driveway, I was not aware of it. Then landscaping, then there was so much the price went to the roof. Okay. At that time, this increased my deposit, of course, an amount which I was required at that stage.
Yeah.
I'm already stuck with the land. I tried my best to save the extra deposit so that actually I can start the construction immediately. And I think at that time, I was actually again started paying extra money. Then I was doing extra jobs. Then there was a startup, there was a construction loan, there was council rates because I have a land at that time.
Yeah.
Finally, when I actually get to the construction started and completed, I realized that the whole process was extremely stressful. And I understood that because I didn't have much knowledge, actually right knowledge, and was not able to plan my strategy. This resulted not only wasting of lots of time, but also incurring extra cost, which I could have saved for my next property easily, actually. That much fun. I could have bought another property if I didn't spend so much money in loans in between and taxes of land and whatnot, and waiting a year, 1.5 years for land loan construction to finish and all these things.
Yeah.
And I realized I need to self-educate myself, and it's very important that I should stop relying on other advisors.
Yeah.
That's when I started doing lots of research, and I started searching for property courses. Then I came across PK course, like your course, and following your Facebook page around almost 3 months, actually. And I realized that data is extremely important in buying property, not like buy agent advice, so-called property gurus and property agents. So I was impressed by the knowledge you were sharing and with everyone. So I booked the call with you, and you have answered all my questions. And I left that this is the right course for me, and immediately went ahead and took up your course.
Yeah.
In 4 months, I bought my next property, and right now I'm getting up for my another property in next 6 to 7 months. But hopefully everything goes right. Yeah, that was the journey before I joined your course. Yeah.
And so, like, one of the questions that I think people normally have is, it's very easy to just go with a buyer's agent, right? Like the value proposition is that you don't really need to think much. You just have to pay them, $10,000 or $15,000. Yes, you have to pay them every property, but if you can afford it, then so be it. It's easy. But in your case, I think what we learn is that actually giving someone and outsourcing that responsibility and outsourcing that accountability is exactly that. Like, you've actually, those first 2 properties weren't exactly high performance properties in hindsight. And that's the thing, you can only judge a property's, how good a property is in the back or in the rear view mirror. And if you look at we've discussed this many times, if you look at the properties that you have, it's good that you've got properties, but they weren't the best use of the funds and the serviceability. So, some people, or one of the questions that often comes up is, like, it's just so easy to outsource it. Why should we do it ourselves? And also, look, isn't it really hard to do it ourselves? I mean, these people are professionals, they get paid big bucks for a reason. Like, how am I going to be able to compete against them? So, like, without kind of bigging up my course too much, just to tell us what your experience actually was having done the course and actually having bought a property.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I may answer this question for you, I would say that Nitish had a bit of knowledge about property investment because he's been here for a longer time, much longer time than me. It's almost been only 3 years approximately that I've come to Australia. And he was really passionate about property investing. Whereas in my case, I had zero knowledge and no interest. So you see, I had no experience investing back home. It's something property investment, if you see for a person who has no knowledge, they always think it's so complex and is only limited to a particular sect of people in the market who are experts. So we think that we as independent individuals cannot break into that market, right? So he used to discuss with me from the time we got together, and I could never understand anything. I had zero knowledge. I couldn't understand. He would say, go on, research, it's easy. I went out there, tried a couple of times. Trust me, there is so much information floating around in the market, so many different schools of thoughts. Somebody saying plan A, somebody saying plan B. You never try to get hooked onto it and you never get interested in it. So I never got interested in it. I said, look, there's so much information floating around. Even if I start today, 1 year down the line, I'm sure I will be as confused as I am today because I don't know what approach to take. I mean, I have zero knowledge in Australian property investment. It is so big. There are thousands of suburbs floating around. Someone says Melbourne is booming. Someone says Sydney is booming. Someone says go to regional. I mean, what do people like us do who have no knowledge at all? He said, I'm taking up the course. I spoke to you, I guess. I was not very confident. I'm being very frank here. He was confident. He went ahead with your course. If you remember, I said that, I'm like, will you give us a little bit time to untouch?
I do remember, yeah.
Because I was not, I was seriously not. If he was 110% confident, my confidence was 20 or 30%. Yeah. I'm sorry for being frank, but I was not, because having had that experience before, as I believe he's just given a bit of insight, I was on the fringes of that process when he was taking his Sydney property. I realized how complex it is. And I told him that you are saying that when we engaged a buyer's agent who was so good, who was an expert, and we still could not, get a deal of high growth and high yield property, you are saying that only by doing a 6-week course, we'll be able to do that all independently. It looked too good to be true to me.
Sure. So I think you was actually, when you have so many hurdles and you challenges like 2 properties you face, it's hard to trust anyone over the phone call. So
trust is definitely a big thing.
I didn't realize. I said, we can't do it on our own. I don't have knowledge. You don't have the time. We were both working full time almost. And I said, how are we going to break into that market which is ruled by experts? And you were very, very clear that you're not a buyer's agent. You said, we will find out on ourselves. And that put me in a lot of no. I said, no, we can't do it. We're not that skilled. And when you said we'll look at data, we look at factors, I said, who's going to do that much work? Who's going to sit and go through rows and rows of data and then get a suburb and don't even know whether it's going to happen or not? So if a person like me, I could understand your course with zero knowledge, that means anybody can understand it. I'm that confident because I had zero knowledge, you see, about Australia, not even living here for long. So you would know the depth of my knowledge in real estate. It was next to nothing. And if I could understand every week, because it was so easy to understand step by step and so intense. So it was intense. It's not that it was simple and something which you'll find randomly on the internet. No. It was easy to understand, yet it was very valuable. So after completing the 6-week course, both of us actually took a high growth, high yield property within 4 or 5 months without anybody's help. I think we couldn't have achieved this even with the buyer's agent, you see, whom we paid thousands of dollars for the first 2 properties. So that looked too good to be true, but it was actually possible at the end of as you said, that's the mindset of the people. I think that's what we need to change. And because you're not changing that mindset, we are where we are, I think. Trust me, if he wouldn't have got onto that phone call with you, And if you wouldn't have taken that course, we would still be hunting for a buyer's agent. We were actually hunting for a buyer's agent. So we said, look, we had a bad experience. Let's go and search for a more honest and, a more better one. So I still told him that. I said, don't waste money there. Wait, let's go to a buyer's agent. He'll show us the suburb. He'll show us the property.
Now we don't need a fortune teller to select a suburb. Yeah. So we can actually go to your process and find a growth suburb and yield. So we don't have to rely on like someone who's have a hidden agenda on anything behind to just take money and just give it wrong advice. So you see, I paid like thousands of dollars, but the information was given was wrong. Then that's what actually went wrong. Like that's what actually we tried to take your course. Then we realized like this started once we bought the property. Then I think now we got more confidence. Then we are having clear picture what we're gonna do for the next properties. So that's how actually it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, knowledge is important, I think, because when you're ignorant, I believe you should not even blame the other parties because you yourself are ignorant. And see, we were not knowledgeable. And that's the reason we became so vulnerable to people around the market. So you can't blame them as well, right? Because they're doing their jobs. They're looking for people who they want to sell property. So you obviously can't go and lay the blame everywhere when you're not educating yourself. So you see, when you don't have the knowledge at all, and when you enter into something with a big block of money, people only see that block of money. And when you don't tell your needs and requirements to them, how are they going to help you? And you will only communicate those needs when you have the knowledge. We could see a massive difference. I mean, the way we are talking to our mortgage broker, the way we are talking to the agents is so different. We couldn't talk that way before because we didn't know what to ask.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the things, right? Like when you're new to real estate, you automatically assume that the conveyancer knows so much more than me, that the real estate agent knows so much more than me, everyone's more knowledgeable, but you need to be the captain of the team. You need those people, but you need to know how to manage them, right? So, and I think with you did it really well because yes, it took you 4 or 5 months to buy, but really that was just because you were waiting 2 or 3 months for that refinancing to occur. Yes. And so really it only, correct me if I'm wrong, 2 months, maybe 2.
I think it was after finishing course, it was 3 months to be exact settlement.
Yes. To settlement, yeah. So, I mean, that's a pretty good outcome. And look, you guys are based in Sydney and you bought, and I'll be open with everyone, you bought in Adelaide. You didn't spend any weekends flying to Adelaide, not that you could have in the lockdown period anyway. And you were able to take 15,000 suburbs and find that best one in Adelaide. Plus you got it under market value. You were just saying before that there was a 11th hour offer that was around 10,000 more than what you had got the property for. You got this property 2 hours after it was listed. The yield is above 5%, positive cash flow. It's already growing. Like it just sounds too good to be true. I know what people will think, this is PK saying his like standard sales pitch, but just kind of, put the sales and marketing hat to the side for a second and just explain to people, to the extent that you can in a few minutes, how you went through that, because you did it, right? And just explain to people how you went from 15,000 suburbs to your suburb, then how you found the property, then how you beat like 20 other buyers to find it, including beating buyers agents themselves, right? And it's positive cash flow. Just walk us through that to the extent that you can in a few minutes.
So I believe the process of how we got to this property was a little interesting because we went through one property and then went on to the second one. So we had the suburbs selected, that's the only part of the whole course, which is a little intense, where you have to put in a little bit of time, but that's very important because you see that's the backbone of the entire course. So we had the suburbs selected. So we had it around, say, September or something. We had our suburbs selected, and we were, as you mentioned earlier, we were waiting for the mortgage broker to get our refinance sorted, which took around 3 months, and then we were waiting for the pre-approval. So during that time, we discussed, and Nitish said, look, we're waiting for the refinance, but let's start looking at the market. So we had our top 3 suburbs. So we were first looking at the topmost suburb. And we started tracking the market from October. Now, you won't believe it. This is true. And we have experienced it ourselves. By the time we waited for the loan to get settled in December, that suburb went up by $12,000 or $13,000 right in front of our eyes. It went so high that it went beyond the budget we set for ourselves.
And this isn't a $500,000 suburb, just for some context. This is, under, I think it was around 300 at the time. So that's actually a pretty significant
I think we call it that time usually. That's how your course works. Like property goes up.
I'm like, we are looking at the market and I'm like biting my nails. I'm like, when are the banks going to give me an answer? This suburb is rising like anything and it's skyrocketing. It went from 310, 320, 330, went beyond 350 mark. And Nitish said, it's gone. Like, we can't afford it anymore. Don't waste time behind it. By December, the properties were selling like hotcakes there. Nobody even had any stock. I called the real estate agents for 1 month prior. Nobody got back to me. No, not even a single one got back to us. They said, we are putting everything on the market. We are not putting anything off the market. Why will we put it in a suburb like this? We're not putting anything. So, are you ready to pay 20, 30,000 above the market value? Then talk to us. I said, no, definitely not. I'm not ready to shell out that much money. So, I mean, that first suburb went beyond it. The stock on market was completely zero. No new houses were coming up. Even if they were coming up, they were selling for too high. I said, so our budget. So Nitish said, like, just stop looking at that. Let's move on to the second best suburb. But I think that's the best part about your course, because you always have the backup plan ready. So luckily we had that. The second suburb was growing, on the point of growing, and we entered the market just during that time. We went ahead, we saw the properties. We saw one of the properties which came on the market at around, say, it was 3 or 4 hours it was listed.
3 hours.
And we saw the first property and we immediately got onto the call with the sales agent. Now, all this experience when we were looking at the prices and all was really helpful to us because we knew how it's growing. We knew to value it. So I saw the property. We saw the property on the real estate, and then we called the agent in the evening when it was just listed at 3 hours. We called the agent. We asked all the right questions. It was just given in the course. That helped us a lot. Some of the questions I couldn't even imagine that you can answer these. I was like, oh, can you ask this to the sales agent? Will he answer? And then I was like, okay, it's important. So we asked all the questions. He answered more or less. And then again, we were adamant about the property. We wanted the property to be given to us before the inspection. So these got listed around, say, Thursday. Yeah, it was, Thursday in the evening. And they had, every time they were having open inspections on Saturday and Sunday. So we told him that we will do everything, but we want the property to be under contract or under offer before the first inspection. We decided on the terms and everything. The agent agreed. He said, yeah, that's fine. And we got it under contract. So the first one, it was in the second, the second most, the best suburb which we selected. We got it under contract. We got it on Friday itself. So the open home was on Saturday. We got it on Friday. All was good. So we waited over the weekend, and immediately on Monday, we contacted the mortgage broker. We contacted the building inspector, got it done. And the best part about SA was the building and the pest inspection report was given to us on the very same day. So we didn't have to wait for long. So the inspector would give you a call and he would explain to you, help, go through everything. So I arranged for an inspection with one of the property managers there as well. I arranged for a building inspection. We called him and we arranged for that. The point was that a little disappointing aspect was that property, the quality was not very good for that. So it had type 3, type 4 cracks and the property was sinking.
Yeah, the building inspection report didn't come out that well. So
I remember you guys were emailing me and I was just saying, look, it's too much red flags.
Yeah, that's right.
Be detached.
Yes. So the inspector was like, look, I'm not very sure. You might need to consult a structural engineer, which would again take around 15 days time because they had to source a structural engineer and get him to do that. And he said it might require underpining and all of that. I said, that defeats our purpose. So
Yeah.
and Nitish, we were discussing, and I was a little disappointed. I said, this is the first property we got it. Where are we going to get the second one? Then he said, yeah, look, that's fine. Calm down. We'll, properties will come and go. Don't worry about that. This defeats the purpose, Even if we buy it, it'll become a money pit in a few years.
Right.
You have to constantly put it, and type 4 cracks are not very good. I think we took your advice as well, and you said, let go if it's, if it has so many issues.
Yeah.
But luckily, so we took that risk. We lost a couple of $100, but we learned, right? I mean, that's how you learn, by trial and error. I think you just can't expect to learn with no money or no mistakes at all. Still, we didn't lose anything much. It was just a couple of $100. If you look at the bigger picture, it was not.
And a few $100 spent on a building and pest inspection is much less than thousands that you'd waste having bought that property.
And we got the experience, right? We got experience how to deal in the situation. We let go of that property. Luckily, quite luckily for us, it was on Wednesday.
Same day. Yeah.
Yes, it was on Wednesday. We decided that we're going to let it go. So our cooling off period didn't even start by that time. So we just sent an email to the agent saying that, look, does not look good to us, and we are backing off. We are rescinding on the offer which we made. So and it was all good. We didn't lose anything. We started searching again, and luckily for us, that same evening, there was another property which came up on the market. It looked good to us. Of course, we can't 100% rely on the photos, but when I was looking at the characteristics and all the criteria which you asked us to select, it matched everything, and the land size was bigger. So me and Nitish, we sat together and we decided that we're just going to immediately call the agent. So the same as last time, we called the agent, and now this agent was a little more popular in that area. He was selling lots of properties. I was looking at his record from.
He literally said he's selling 200 properties a year.
So, we were not hoping much, because he didn't give us a lot of hope as well. I said, if we make an offer, we want it accepted before Saturday. That is for the open inspection. Again, the inspection was scheduled on Saturday, like the previous case. He said, look, I might not guarantee that 99% the buyers go on the market, because they've spent a lot of money on advertisement, and they don't want to take the first offer which comes up. But then again, you say, that's the beauty of the course which I learned. If I wouldn't have learned it, or if we wouldn't have done that, we would have been deterred there itself. We would have been like, no, it's not possible. Let's backtrack. Let's look at something else. But your course taught us how to bring that balance between two parties. Even in a hot market, when the ball is in their court and the ball is in the court of the buyer and the sales agent, your course taught us that you are not entirely weak. There is some, there are some tricks, there's some knowledge, which if you have, you can tilt the balance in your side. So you can bring the power on your side. So that's what we did. And he did not give us much hope, but he still said, I'm going to try. He gave us a call on Friday. He said, I'm going to push the buyers to sell. Are you confident? So we were like, we are confident of buying. Are you confident of selling us before it goes on the market? So we kept pushing him. And then on Friday night, just before the inspection, he said, that's under offer and they've accepted it. We're going to send you the contract on Saturday. And we did that over the weekend. So So
it's amazing. It's
important in that the timing was really important, because the way we actually called them 2 hours, then the sales agent tried to contact the owners, and that was really important. I think the owners took a little bit time, which was 1 day to decide whether to sell or not. He said owners going to sleep on it and give you a decision tomorrow. And then he came with this figure. The owner's happy to sell in this price. Then I said okay, that's fine, done.
And we were able to make that decision so fast. Definitely we wouldn't have able to make it before. So fast was because we learned how to value the property. You say you're always confused when your sales agent gives you the figure. You have to second guess yourself, saying that whether you're overpaying or underpaying. You don't know whether it's a good deal or not. That makes you lose a lot of time. You're wasting time thinking, you're wasting time consulting 10 people in the market. And by that time, the property is already lost. You can't. We learned how to value the property by, of course, there's that tool which you have in one of your courses, in one of the weeks. And that accurately, more or less accurately, helps you understand whether you're paying the market value or you're going overboard. So this whole process took us around 3 hours to arrive at the decision, and we were good to go. Never would we have done it if we would have got a buyer's agent. I mean, we would have been still spinning in circles, going here and there without any results. So if you're self-educated and if you have that self-knowledge, you just don't have to knock on others' doors. You just make a decision for yourself and you're ahead with it. So.
I mean, you said so many things. It's like you're sounding like a buyer's agent, the way that you're speaking.
I think your assets played a very important role too. Like they were very friendly. So whenever you read like convincer, mortgage broker, they was actually over the phone. Yes. Like, you know, I was filling some forms, and that time my sales agent said like, you need to fill it by tonight. Then I said like, wow, 5 o'clock. And like, who gonna support me to fill this form? Because there was some technical terms were there which I required convincer to help me out. But yeah, that's the way like the mortgage broker and convincer was really helpful too. I think that your team is, I think, great, and they're trying to help all investors. That's what the great thing is. It.
No, shout out to my team. I mean, the team is so important.
Yes.
I mean, the two things that I got out of what you said is, although you said there was a process and you failed first and then you succeeded, and there's so many different parts, the conveyancer, getting them involved, the mortgage broker, getting them to plug into that process, negotiating, like it seems very overwhelming, but like you just said, it took 3 hours. There's a lot of like complexity, but it doesn't actually take long. So I think that's the kind of key sort of elevator pitch that I want to take away. I want people to take away from this, that you need to educate yourself. It is not as easy as going on a forum and following a forum for 2 months or listening to 100 podcasts. You need deep knowledge, not just surface level. But then when you have it, it doesn't take long.
It's easy. I mean, that's why I was scared of getting into it. I thought it's complex. It's not achievable, because I said, you don't know how to, we've not spoken to convince. We don't understand the legal terms. That's what Nitish said. Rightly, he pointed out, when we were filling certain forms and legalities, we did not understand. See, your course taught us everything, but there are just a few nitty-gritty things which are left around, which are a part of learning process. So if you get that, you'll get on to the next step of taking that risk and going out there. And it's as simple as asking someone, hey, how to do this? Can you help me doing that? And just takes a phone call, a 15-minute phone call, and you're good to go. So we saw the contract of sale for the first time. It just went above it just bounced over our head. I said,
we never saw like any legal terms and like stuff.
What is this? I mean, the sales agent has sent us and we want to fill it right now. And what is this? Looks like Greek and Latin to us. And then said, there's no problem. There's someone to help us. Went on a call with the conveyancer, a 15-minute, went on a call with the conveyancer, 15-minute phone call, we were good to go. And he's in Adelaide and we are here. So even that I had to go and sit in front of him. Just a 15-minute phone call solved that. So,
Did you leave your home at any point in order to transact the property or find it?
Not at all. Just went to get a few documents printed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you sharing all this, because it kind of just lifts the veil, so to speak, and lets people know what's possible. So I really appreciate your time, like, once again. And I mean, what would you say, this is my chance to kind of put in the sales pitch, that what would you say to someone listening, basically someone like yourself, Nitish? You followed me for a few months on my Facebook group. I don't know if you followed my YouTube and things. People are there, they want to become property investors. They might already have a couple of properties. They know the high level things, like amenities, population growth, infrastructure, vacancy rates, the standard stuff. And then they think, oh, look, it's just too hard, and I'm in Melbourne or I'm in Sydney, it's too expensive here. I need to go interstate. I need to get a buyer's agent. What would you, without kind of poo-pooing buyer's agents, but more from your experience, what would you say to those people?
Yeah, I think they should just trust and do the course and understand the course and rely on data. Data, as I said, data is a king, and you can't just ignore the data. So you're not actually going and telling something out of the box. You're telling what exactly data is saying. So it's not something you are buyer agent. You're just saying, you for the next property, as you mentioned before, like I don't have to come to you and ask, like you just follow the data. So now I think that's the important thing. Just in the course, that's what I've learned it, and now I myself with such confidence saying that okay, if I follow the data, I'm on the correct track. I don't need any buy agents. I don't need anyone else XYZ to actually advise me. So I think that's what actually it helps me out. What is your opinion in that?
I mean, exactly as rightly what Nitish said, it's all about the data. I mean, it's not even that the course which you're teaching, it's not that you have given few theories based on your own knowledge. You've not given that. So it's nothing which says that rely on what PK says in the course. Nowhere is it stated that way. It's even you, when we come to you, sometimes you says, don't ask me, ask the numbers. So yeah, there were so many times he said when we were asking PK, do you think it's good? And then you would counter back saying that, what do the numbers say? Because it's all numbers. And it's not complex. That's what I'm saying. I mean, when we think of data and when we think of criteria, we think long sheets, we think long rows and columns of information, which is not the case. So I mean, this is a very more, it's very limited knowledge, which is shared, which is very important if you are trying to do property investing in the long term, because it just does not have too much information. It has what you require. So you don't waste much of your time and you're right on the track. So that's what I really liked about the course. I mean, both of us were from different levels of knowledge, and both of us could understand it and complete it successfully. So I think its range is to everyone, with people who have zero knowledge, and even with people who are like regular investors. So it's very important, I think.
Yeah. So once again, kudos to you. I mean, a course may be really good or a course may be really bad, but it takes a person to actually to do it and then implement it. It's only as good as it's actually action. So you guys did actually implement it. You got a positive cash flow property, something that's already worth more than you bought. It will continue to go up. And I'm looking forward to seeing what next property. And you know, so many of my clients, including you, Sneha, you always write to me saying, "Oh, sorry to bother you." It's not a bother.
You have so many questions, right? So yeah, but we have grown more confident. I mean, you could say that the number of questions in the second property were much lesser than the
that's true.
I think now we have set of blueprint. Like I was not sure where to go with the stop property investing, like 1, 2, 3, 4 way. But like I have roughly planned, like, okay, this is what I have a number now. I'm going to stop there. Then from there, I think I might just get a financial freedom from there. So I can whatever I want to do it in the near future. And yes, that's what actually makes my life much clearer now in terms of my career and other stuff. So yeah, that's what I've actually learned, and started implementing. I think implementation is more important. What I've actually learned it. Yeah. So I've tried to implement it all what you have trained, without cutting the corners. Yes, that's I think that's what it was.
100%. Knowledge is empowering, but only if you act on it.
That's right.
So thank you again, and for everyone watching and listening. You know, if you have any questions about Nitish and Sneha's journey, you can just comment right below, or ask any questions or comments or anything at all. If they don't reply, I will. I can't commit from their perspective. That these are real people and they've got a good result. Oftentimes people ask me, you know, in your testimonials, do you have paid actors? And actually, Nitish is a paid actor.
I just do a commercial, but not.
That's a separate thing. So yeah, look, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. There's plenty more testimonials. I help people buy high positive cash flow properties that actually grow, so you can get a passive income. You know, my course is not going to get you a Ferrari. It's not going to get you a mansion, but it is going to get you a 6-figure passive income over time. Doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, as we all know. So once again, thanks so much, guys. And hit the like or love button so that more people can see this video. All right. See you later.
Yeah.